Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Dublin. Thank you for joining me wherever you are. If you are in Edmonton, a special welcome also to my people in St. Lucia who are celebrating Labor Day. You're just kicking back, you're enjoying yourself. That's good. I'm so happy that you are here. We're going to talk about, is it in your cards for you to be a speaker today? That is the topic. So we're going to get going with that topic because I'm very happy, very proud to just drop a form today. I put together a resource so that you can find out what kind of speaker you are. Like, are you meant to be that speaker? Is that what you want to do? Hang on, let me just put this. Let me just make sure I can edit the audience on Facebook. I have no idea why it goes private when I go live on Facebook, but it's all good now, right? All good. So, welcome, my Facebook friends as well. We want to talk about the speaking life today. Are you that person out there who has that gift of the gab and you're like, okay, I'm sitting on this gift. What am I even doing? We want to talk about that today, but I want to backtrack a little bit, talk about a couple things first, let you know what's going on with me. It's been a minute. My schedule is kind of changing. So the mornings are becoming a bit difficult. So I'm kind of testing out where the audiences are and also where I can fit myself and not be falling asleep because I do go to bed very very early. Okay, I go to bed very early. Hi Naomi, how you doing? Oh my goodness, this young lady is just fire. I had one consultation with her and she just simply just literally just took off. Like, oh my gosh. Every coach's dream, honestly. All right, you guys, a couple things before I get into today's topic. So stick around because what you want to find out today might change your life. You might think that speaking is only about getting on stage, right? You will be pleasantly surprised today to situate yourself where the places that I'm going to go with speaking. But I wanted to tell you first of all, hey, I have a new episode of my podcast out today. Please go subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and you can get it on my YouTube channel. I will put it in my, let me just put the links for that. You can go subscribe to the podcast on Basement Chronicles YouTube channel. Here's the link right there. Go subscribe, share it. If it's giving you value, then you want to know when new episodes come out. So that is the link right there on YouTube. Please subscribe to the Basement channel. Y'all, I was not expecting this today. Okay, I got this notification from, I think, vidIQ, which I have enabled on my YouTube channel, to say that I had reached 13,000 views. Now, in the grand scheme of things, some people reach that like in under a minute, okay? But you see, this mom who's just here doing her business from her basement, being a speaker, reaching the world and doing what she loves, it means a lot, okay? So I was happy to see that today. And, just thinking about it, and this is for the entrepreneurs out there, like what seems to be working. And I think it's a combination of things. Like the podcast has surpassed 7,000 views. And the podcast is on that channel as well. Then I've started doing shorts as well, like putting all of the clips up there. So all of these things kind of push the views up. So for anybody who's out there, the entrepreneur who's like, how do I do this? Just read. YouTube University is free. Then you can find out how to do different things because like I'm nowhere where I'm near where I'm supposed to be, being in the business for more than like 4 or 5 years at this point. But I'm grateful. Okay, anybody grateful out there for the little wins, the small steps? I was writing up some of the literature for my new program, Find Your Fire, and I realized, wait a minute, Basement Chronicles, this brand has been around, I can now say, since 2020. Since 2020, this has been around since 2020. That makes a lot of sense. But okay, jokes aside, let's get into what I really want to talk about today. So how many people believe that we should have more than one stream of income? Everybody believes that out here? Yeah, of course. That's all of us. And especially in today's world, that is getting pretty tough. Okay, it is getting iffy. And that is not to deny the grace of God and all of the things, but it makes you pause and think about, look around yourself like, what do I have in my arsenal? What do I have in my gift basket or my basket of gifts that I can use to bring in more income, that I can use without much dis-ease to, enhance what I already do and have a quality of life that I want, right? Yes, Sienna says yes, we should. Hey, how you doing? And so, especially like, I am going to be 50 this year, so you're not looking to go and start a whole new career, okay? I don't know about you, but I'm not doing, like, no, okay? Especially if you are sitting on gifts that you have not used, that you have not explored, that you didn't even think might be able to be a career path, a way to for you to bring in more income, make an impact, and make an income. That is where I want us to situate ourselves if you are that speaker here today. And so, many times, and you can, this podcast that I just dropped, I really go into why exactly I started this new program and what it takes, to be a speaker. So make sure you go listen to episode number 45 of the Basement Chronicles podcast. Okay, dropped, it just dropped. Pardon me. So now, some of us have been speaking for a long time. I've been speaking for more than 20 years in one area or the other. I've been a live TV host. I've been a radio contributor, live on the air. I have done performance poetry, poetry slams, and the sort, keynote speaker, guest speaker, panelist, anybody who's into communication and has that gift of words for days, as I like to call it. I'm pretty sure you have a similar profile. The only difference, I believe, is some people, as we say, I'm from the Caribbean, I'm from St. Lucia. We don't take that for anything. It doesn't mean anything to you that you have the gift of the guy. It doesn't mean anything to you that when you open your mouth, people listen, that words come easily for you, that it's not hard for you to stand up and to address 100 people. It might even be easier, truth be told, to do that than to be one on one looking deeply into somebody's eyes and heart. Is that you? Or you could be that person who doesn't have a lot of exposure speaking. But why is it that when you do speak, you just seem to say things that garner a lot of attention, that are so wise that people are like, why can't I just need you to continue speaking? You are making sense. You might be that hidden gem as well. We have discovered a few in my Speak with Confidence program. By the way, you guys, my students are going to be on the program, I think next week, Sunday. This group of Speak with Confidence, this cohort, they are vivacious. They are out of this world. They are extraordinary. And I've enjoyed every single cohort. But these ones, they've really blown the program out of the park. So I can hardly wait for you to meet them. I think too, it's going to be part of their own process, coming on live and just chopping it up, having an interview. Because here's the thing, the one way that you practice speaking is to speak. The one way that you get better at public speaking is to public speak. You're not going to do it by reading all the books, okay? You're not going to be doing it by never stepping out and facing people with words and communication. And I think love in your heart, because all of these things make a difference. So if you fit into the profile, that kind of person who has a love affair with words, right? Or has something to say, but you're not quite sure how to say it. It might just be that speaking in whatever of the forms that I'm going to tell you about in a little while, it might just be that you can actually cultivate, build a career as a speaker and make an impact and make an income. Is that something that you'd be interested in? And consider a couple of things. I have to go to the pain points first, because it's the pain points as well that got me here. When I realized it was easier for me to speak, it just felt easy. It just felt easy to do this as opposed to going through endless procedures and numbers and so on that I didn't like when I was doing the 9 to 5. I had an administrative job and I'm grateful for it. You know why? And I need to always preface that when I talk about this administrative job, because even though I decided I'm not going back to the office, being in that office helped me, even though I'm creative and I am an entrepreneur, having the administrative background has literally helped me to kind of ground my business and to put procedures in place and, have a little more structure than if I had not been exposed to doing something that I didn't love, but perhaps was good for me. So, that being said, I had to crank myself up every single day to go to work. I had to do it. I'm one half of this family. My husband is at work. Faithfully, he's there in the background. I'm able to do what I can because of him, but I have to do my part as well. And I went head down, going to work, grinding away, and just realizing, wait a minute, I don't even like this. I don't even like this, and this doesn't even like me. Like, what am I doing? The parts of the job that I liked more had nothing to do with what was on my job profile. Can you guess what these parts were? Staff meetings and doing presentations, doing like going and do the outreach for the students in different faculties and standing up to speak. Oh, I was like, I need to do more of this. This is me. It felt easy. It felt like I was in my element. But what I didn't have was a way to move from the love to making it a reality. Is that you? Are you here in this job that you don't like, maybe facing bosses and situations that are downright stressful, disrespectful? What else? Demean you, make obliterate your existence. And the minute you open your mouth, you have so much power that perhaps you even see the fear in the eyes of those who are perhaps even trying to cut you and keep you down. That is power. That is power because you are in your element. You were meant for this. They always say, and it's part of what I do in the Find Your Fire program that I'm going to tell you about. We try to get students to find that fire. What is it that you're meant to do? What are you meant to speak about? And one of the ways that you know perhaps that speaking is in the stars for you is that it's easy for you and it's hard for others. A lot of people don't have the confidence, and that's okay. And we're not confident in in the same areas, right? But if speaking comes easily for you, if you have the gift of the gab, if you were the jabbermouth when, when you were a kid, if you just get on the mic and you speak and people are like, wow, far more what you can do if you are prepared and you absolutely know what you are doing. And so what happened, I think it was divine intervention, was that during that horrible pandemic, I realized, wait a minute, I actually had the space to breathe. I actually had the space to sit back and to kind of think of who I was in the world and what I wanted to do best. What was I good at? And it was a time, if you remember going back to those days, 2020, 2021, there was just like an outburst, a plethora of courses and things that you could do online. And I think by the grace of God, hey, Leonise, I think by the grace of God, I kind of honed in on what I needed to do. I did a course that showed me how to do an online offering. And in that course, it was by Daniel Leslie. I'll never forget how powerful it was. It was long and onerous. I had to take many weeks to complete it on top of the 9 to 5 and on top of everything, that I was doing. But there was something compelling about that course. And she really drilled down into who are you and what are you meant to do. And I realized what kept on coming over and over and over again for me was I was a communicator. I was the speaker. This is where I had the wins. This is where it made sense. This is where it was easy. And let me tell you, I'm saying my story, but right here, listening to me, there are hundreds, okay, not hundreds, dozens, dozens of people. Well, it will be hundreds if you actually share this live. If you can go on and share this live, it will be hundreds. So you guys need to help me wherever you are. Please share the live, okay, so that we can get this message out that we have hope and we have talent and we can use it. And it occurred to me, wait a minute, like I could do this. I could really do this. So what happened during COVID? Let me get back to that part of the story. I think I went off there for a little bit. But I just began to see that, wait a minute, I have the wins there. Let me put together something. Speak, speak. Yes, Leonie, you're one of those. Speak, speak, speak. I had what it took and I put together a course that is still running because it works. My program Speak with Confidence, that is the first program I put together in 20 we started in February 2021. So I have to now put since 2021 on whether I advertise it. And we are currently in cohort 9. And some cohorts have been smaller than others, but through every cohort, the students have come out on the other side of confidence. And I began to see that, which I had what it took to be able to get people from where they were not as confident. Some people came in confident, but other things improved in their lives. They got energy, they got a new lease on life, as a second wind, for as some people say. And I began to see, wait a minute, I actually had the framework, and the framework works. So my first framework for speaking, I'm saying this so that you'll see that this is not fly by night. This is somebody with not just 20 years of experience, but who has put in the work to make programs that are definitely grounded in curriculum and grounded in strategy to get you results. After all my speaking experience and looking at people, looking at what worked and so on, Speak with Confidence emerged on 6 pillars. That you need to have the right attitude towards speaking, that you need to be able to have the right attitude towards the audience. You need to approach them in a certain way. And the one thing, I'll not say it now, people will start to say, but it's to speak to the thirsty person. Then you need to get the content down correctly. When we started in 2021, there was no AI. Now, 8 cohorts later, AI is a thing. And because we teach authenticity and confidence in the program, we have to address it. Because why is it that what comes from the depth of you is never the same as what comes from AI? But you can use it to enhance who you are. Okay, so we go through all of these modules in the program. So we look at audience, we look at attitude, content, and delivery. Yesterday, you guys, I'm so excited. Yesterday, it was module 5, and I look at style because there's something that's happening. Because I'm focusing exclusively on speakers for the most part now, I'm beginning to see what happens when you put a microscope on speaking. When you put a microscope on who you are, you show up differently. So that module on style, it really helps the students to see who they are as speakers, to accept themselves, and to leverage it. And as we say, to work it. No, work who you are. And so yesterday we had the teaching class, and then we have tons of practice with the videos that they have to submit. Already, the videos are different because there was a validation, because we looked in on them. Who are you as a speaker? That works. That doesn't work. Okay, this is what you can do to adjust. It is amazing what happens when you pay attention. And that's the only thing I can say about it. It's amazing what happens when you pay attention. Hello, somebody says hello, True. Thank you for being here on YouTube. Thank you so much. And Leonie says she's a proud graduate of Speak with Confidence, and she's actually in the other program as well that I'll tell you about. And the last thing that we focus on is the medium, because there are so many people who never get exposed to speaking in different mediums. For example, going online, streaming, just that kind of thing. So the hope is a Speak with Confidence graduate never says stuff like, oh, I'm not very good with technology. What? Who? Why? Excuse me. I have this Canadian friend in is she in Ottawa? I think she's in, yeah, she's probably she's like 90 something. She's always online. She's always commenting. Before you post, she's ready to comment. I'm telling you, 90 something. We have no excuse for us to be like, oh, I don't know about. No, if you don't, go check YouTube University. But you're not going to be the person who becomes a juggernaut, right? What do you call them? A Luddite. You're not going to be a Luddite here. None of that here. None of that here. Yeah, you remember doing those video assignments. The min vids have been, and I don't mind saying it, because even though people try to copy the program, what really works, I think, is who the trainer is and how I've put it together. Because I realized very early, and this is going to be also part of Find Your Fire, that speakers need life coaching too. And so that first group, that was Leonise's group, she was in my first cohort, they didn't have that benefit. But because I became certified as a life coach, I began to realize speaking is not just getting on stage, or going live. What's going on in your head? What's going on in your heart? Why aren't you showing up the way you are? Why are you giving us one side of the profile? What's wrong with the other side? You won't believe the hangups that we have about who we are and how we are perceived. And in the life coaching portion of the program, we really just go in. Each student gets six sessions, because it's a 6-week program. So you meet with me one-on-one, as well as having the group sessions. Let me tell you, I'm grateful that I have something that works. So like for me, what we're now going to be doing, me and a couple of the graduates who have just persevered with me, is to be able to scale this and to offer it to more people, and perhaps to do it not just virtually but in person, because the speaking is important. And that brings me to a question that is perhaps on everybody's mind. Can you really make a career out of speaking? Before I answer that question and tell you about the different ways you can, because of the different kinds of types of speakers there are, I want to talk about one person who I asked that question about in my own head, and then saw her emerge and bloom because she decided to take herself seriously. Okay? Here's the thing. During COVID, everybody was online. Me, of course. Everybody was online. And I began to see that Leonie says the coaching sessions enhanced us as speakers. We gained greater clarity and confidence, hands down. And I was so happy to have gotten certified at the time when I was offering Speak with Confidence. And it's still working. So you guys, there is this premier host. She's from the Caribbean. However, she does now international events. You guys know who I'm talking about? Go check out Dr. Terry Carell Reed Johnson. Terry Carell Reed Johnson. She's on LinkedIn. She's everywhere. And during COVID, it's when during the pandemic, I first got to know her and stuff, eh? And I was like, but how is this going to work? How many activities or events are there for you to be an MC and an MC alone? So laugh if you want to, but I'm pretty sure there are other people who feel like that. Maybe even about coaching or about speaking, whatever. And I'm going to teach a lesson here, right? Because it's very important that this point, this woman has made a career out of being an MC, a host. And I'm like, why? How many events there are? And it's not just because she is a great host. It's because she takes it so seriously and has built up a business and a story around her emceeing and her hosting that she is sought after. I'm telling you, like during COVID, I had wanted her to be on. You remember when we used to do To All the Girls? We had the conference, you guys. So I started the virtual conference To All the Girls. I kid you not. I reached out to Terry then, and she responded but I didn't get the message in time. Something went on in the back end of Kajabi, so I didn't see when I filled out the form and she answered me. Listen, that was 2020, okay? I cannot get Terry Carell Reed Johnson now for now anymore because she's booked and busy. She's booked like a year, I think, in advance right now, from what I heard. Of course, the price has gone up with the prestige of the name and what she brings to the table. I kid you not, right? How good would it have been if we had gotten her back then? That'd be so good. But here's the thing, looking at her business model and the way this girl loves what she does, it's no it's not strange that she has excelled the way she has. Go check her out if you're hearing me speak about her. It's Dr. Terry Carell Reed Johnson. She's built a whole story about who she is and brought an entire viewership along with her. And it reminds me, and I'm now segueing into speaking, it reminds me of something that I heard in a mastermind that I'm a part of for speaking. And they were talking about a certain speaker who commands at least $250,000 for a keynote speech at this point, after many years in the business. And the speaker, we were in training, the speaker proceeded to ask, how much do you think a regular keynote is? Okay. So people put different prices, 5,000, 10,000, whatever. It's in that range, depending on who you are, what you bring to the table, what the event is. So then he proceeded to say, so then why does this person get 250K for a speech? And none of us had an answer, you know? And the answer was, it's because it is him doing that speech. So you have the bland, generic price of the keynote, and the way that you make a business of the speaking is to create a brand about you, the speaker, and what you do. And that is one of the things that we teach in Find Your Fire. You're not just the speaker. No, it's you that's the speaker. No, they're not just hiring any speaker. They're hiring you, Leonis Tuse, as the speaker, right, Leonis? Whoever else is here. You are the one who creates. Now, if this is sounding overwhelming, that's okay. Rome was not built in a day. The Find Your Fire program is 6 months. So we have 6 months to take baby steps to get you out of your comfort zone, still speaking, building that brand, becoming the speaker who's sought after to the point where you can make an impact and make an income. And I looked at her and I realized a couple things. You have to want this. You have to love this. She looks like she loves what she does. I don't even think Terry Carell Reed has even begun to like really like get to the pinnacle of her potential, because she's a host, but she's also a speaker. So when this woman decides she's stepping out of the hosting hat to step into the speaking hat, the speaking arena, give her room. No, she's really good at what she does. But the lesson that I learned there that I've taken away for myself and for everybody that I teach is take yourself seriously. Some of you out there, you have the gift of the gab, and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do with that? Well, everybody else recognizes it in you. That's why they call you to do everything for free. Isn't it true? You MC for free. You host for free. You are the one called upon to give the vote of thanks for free. Okay? You are the one called upon at every speaking engagement. You are the one people naturally turn to. Why do you think that is? Might you want to explore what might be life God might be telling you with that gift that you have? And I'm not saying that you have to be easy with words for you to be a speaker. Absolutely not. People always point to speakers like Malcolm Gladwell, for example, who's not the most engaging of speakers, but the depth of his thought carries him through. Although I feel like he could do it for a little coaching. Like, if, I put a little salt and pepper and be like, okay. Let me keep quiet. I think I would be like, you know what, in this day and age where you kind of have to have a little spice to keep an audience, Malcolm. Okay. Maybe we can do this and do that to get you just a tad more, palatable. But he has great ideas, right? I think I have 10,000 hours on my shelf right now. He's the one who wrote that book. Okay. So he's very good. So let's get to the meat of the matter now. You've heard what I said, that it's possible. The speaking industry is a $1 billion industry. There are people for whom a $10,000 gig is below what they are going to accept. So it means there is room for people to start at the bottom and make your way to a top that seems to have no boundaries. But you have to take yourself seriously. And I think there's a simple process for becoming a paid speaker. A simple I don't mind sharing it here today because it takes more than that. I'll give you the simple process, but it is with like the coaching and having the support and doing all of the little things that make a difference, right? So let's go to the kinds of speakers there are. Are you ready? I hope you hear yourself here today. You might already be functioning in one or more of these types of speakers that I'm going to speak about today. And I'm going to also tell you who they are. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull this up right now. The first kind, and this is one that is, I think people would say that it's rare, but I don't know if you'd call it rare, but most people won't be doing it, and that is the keynote speaker. The keynote speaker is the person who sets the tone in the conference, in the event. And so that person gets called in because of reputation, credibility, expertise in the field, because of the thoughts that they are putting out there that people take to and think that it can be applied to what the conference or the event is trying to accomplish. All of these things. Have you ever been a keynote speaker? Have you been called? Now, I've noticed something that we do, and not people do it now. People have several keynote speakers in one event, but a keynote speaker is like the marquee event, the person who kind of is the spotlight in any big conference or event, right? So that person crafts and delivers a powerful overarching idea that sets the tone for the entire event. So I'm not sure how we can have like several keynote speakers, to tell you the truth. I have been part of conferences and been very grateful to be part of them myself. But the true meaning, thanks for the vidIQ, you needed it. No problem, sis, no problem. The true meaning of the keynote speaker is that they are the highlight. They set the tone. They are the thing. They're usually the people who are hired as keynotes are thinkers. They have original ideas. So if that is you today, you are the person who's always cantankerous and contentious in the office, always has an original idea. Always be the one people will be like, not Smith again, you again. You probably need to take your talents and plunk them down in a speech and deliver it somewhere where you have a thirsty audience, because those people in the cubicles around you, they're not your thirsty audience, clearly, because they just want you to shut up, okay, for them to do the government work. So the keynote speaker commands attention and, has that single big idea that often leaves the audiences inspired, informed, and ready to act. I experienced that myself not too long ago. The last keynote that I did was right here it was out of Edmonton, but it was from Edmonton. And they were beginning 2 days of serious work and brought me in to set the tone. And so the keynote speaker has to do due diligence even before you accept the gig. Who am I speaking to? What do you want me to say? Like, who are they in the moment? Why are they there? The audience members. And how would this be successful if I do what? So there's a lot of thinking that goes into thinking about being a keynote speaker. But if that is you, that is a wonderful kind of speaker who commands a higher price. and but also has a greater responsibility. I think you know what all of these things boil down to? You have to find that thing that you want to do or focus upon for the rest of your life and just double down on it. That oh my gosh, can you imagine I've been speaking for 35 minutes already? You guys have to go walking. So let me wrap up here. I'm just on the first one. So, you know what? I put all of these types of speakers in I put together this document for you. Okay, I'd like you to go take that test to find out what kind of speaker you are. Let me put it here right now because some people might have to leave. I do not imagine that you just have time like this. Okay, here's the form. Go do the test to find out what kind of speaker you are. I'm dropping it here. Please share it widely wherever you can so that more people can access it, and it will give you results, and then the results are going to lead to a certain download to know whether you are meant to be a speaker, you're ready to be a speaker, or you a dormant one. I've also given resources. I'm so proud of this, I'm really proud of this latest offering from me. It's free. Go download, just plunk in your information and you will get the resources. Okay, so that was the keynote speaker. Let's move on a little more quickly, if I may. You know, another kind of speaker, I've been that my whole life, the guest speaker. Okay, the guest speaker is not perhaps not the only one at the event, or if it is a singular event, you might just be the guest speaker. Nobody was asking you to get real deep. You are just the guest speaker. That's fine. And so that is a person who usually is given the topic. Also, it of course it pays less. That's fine. You still have to bring on value. You still have to serve the people. That's what you call to do as a speaker. And in both my programs, Speak with Confidence, and now this one, Find Your Fire, we focus on you are called to serve. No, you are called to serve. You are called to give of yourself. When you finish speaking, you should be tired because of the emotional drain, the thing that you gave out. Like when Care Bears used to just, I'm dating myself, but that's okay. You guys used to watch Care Bears back in the day. That cartoon Care Bears, and you remember they used to stream light out of them. For me, in my head, that's what a speaker does. Even in terms of the energy and the quality of what you give, it has to be light. It has to be inspiring, and it has to make people think. Okay, so perhaps I'm just being that's a value judgment there, and I stand corrected perhaps. But the guest speaker will be at an event, on a panel, in a classroom. They might be a guest on the podcast, and they deliver value, but they're not so concerned about building a brand and owning the room. No, that's the purview of the keynote speaker, because you're building a life as a thought leader, as a person who has a certain kind of idea, says things in a certain way, and gets invited to speak because you are adhering to and pushing that out, right? So we have guest speaker. Here's one we have not considered as public speaking, or as a venue, an avenue to make an impact and make an income, but it's very important. What about the trainer slash facilitator slash the workshop facilitator, that kind of person? So you're not going to be standing at a podium. No, so roll your sleeves up and you get into seminars, or workshops, you get into training sessions and you deliver. That is public speaking. That is one way to get paid. I remember when I first set up my business in St. Lucia, Optimum Success Strategies, that is one of the things that I went out to get a lot of. Contracts. I developed seminars, gave them a name. I had the ultimate speaker. So that was like the first iteration of Speak with Confidence. I did it back then, and went to market it to other people, to government, like establishments, private places. I did one-on-ones, I did small groups, nonprofits. But you have to, first of all, have a tasty thing, have a tasty thing. What are you giving the world? Make it tasty. Let it come from you. So it didn't just come from me. Of course, it has to be based on curriculum and on theory, all of those things. But for all of my programs, because I'm coming from experience, I start with what are the steps that I took to accomplish that. And then I go out to find the theory to beef it up, to make sure that it's not just relevant and applicable to me, but it has worldwide appeal, international or global or general appeal is the word, general appeal. So you have the trainer. Are you that person here today? You are sitting on your talent. You are sitting on your talent, scrolling mindlessly when you should be pen with paper or maybe Google Keep or something, brainstorming. Oh, I have this tasty workshop. How can I put it together? Okay. What we'll do in the first hour is this, second hour. Okay, this is how we're going to do application. And this is how I'm going to end. And I'll give a giveaway at the end, and I'll get there, I'll get those people to follow me on social media, whatever, and I build my community. Yeah, that's how you do it. But we think like it's some highfalutin thing that you're supposed to draw from. No, start with what you know. Start with what you know. People have workshops about, let me see some of the most egregious workshops I've heard about. But people have workshops on cheating, on how, like, they're cheating coaches. They're coaches who deal with not to teach you how to cheat, right? Quite the opposite. Workshops and coaches on how to deal with a cheating partner, or when you get a new pet, how you can, make that person whatever. You guys get what I'm saying? But start with what you know. It is something that other people need. It's just we need to take ourselves seriously. Okay, you guys. Let me just get out of here. Okay. You know another kind of speaker? Oh, this one I know so well. The coach. The coach. And I had the privilege, honestly, of seeing a coach in a speaking situation, and I realized the difference, and I've begun to do that myself. The coach is focused on transformation, and the way she presented, this was Ali Stone at the Inspired Leader. I was like, I'm not usually very impressed with speakers being in the business, to tell you the truth. I think every other professional speaker will say the same, but I sat there amazed, and I came out changed because of what she did and how she applied concepts and led the audience through a series of steps to achieve a certain result at the end. If you are a coach, you are the person who does retreats. You are the person who perhaps you do smaller sessions. You have like lunch parties and that kind of thing. Yeah. Right. Oh my god, here's Deborah. This is one of the vivacious ones in the current cohort of Speak with Confidence, right? And she says the coaching sessions help to find your true person in order to bring your authenticity to your audience. Absolutely, Deborah, you are right. Thank you for saying that. So if you are that coach and you're sitting on, oh, I don't have clients, and you're sitting on the fact that you have a skill that you can translate through the medium of communication to get results for people, you can do that as well. Grab a couple of friends, test it out the first time. Then you put a little price on it. You say, hey, come, I want to teach you confidence. Hey, come, I want to teach you self-esteem. This is the exercises we're going to do, and this is the results that you can get. But you can be that coach, and you see what I'm helping us to do today is to reframe what we think speaking is about, in order to go out and make an impact and make an income. Does that make sense? Everybody okay? You guys there? Okay, I'm almost there. Now, here's my updated information from being in the business and growing with the business. Because everything that I said here today, you can find that. These are the traditional ways that people categorize speaking. You know what people have not been talking about? The streaming storyteller. This one, I think, has come about in earnest because of the pandemic. The person who does not even leave their house but perhaps has two things more than the person who's on stage, a bigger audience, and perhaps makes an even bigger income, because the both of them are possible if you become that streaming storyteller. Don't leave your house. You've got a mic right here. You've got a mic. You've got lights. You've got an internet connection. Some people don't even need a computer screen like I do. Absolutely not. Some people don't even need that. They from their phone, they are able to reach millions and make millions. What excuse do we have except that we don't have a process to do it? You can become, many people have. Look, this guy from Trinidad, he just reached 1 million followers on Instagram. What's his name? Jamel Simpson, I think he is. Scoop. He just reached 1 million followers, posting and using his voice to be funny. But of course, I think that's easier to do and to get people than doing the deep personal development stuff that can get you down and in the doldrums. Like, Lisa, why are you coming on? Right? I think it's easier to kind of reach those numbers if you are in the entertainment field, to tell you the truth, but it's still a viable option. And so, this is a speaker who shows up online. They're streaming on YouTube. They're taking it seriously. That's the difference. It's not one day today and then you don't see them like for 4 weeks, like Lisa Dublin is doing these days. No worries, she'll find her groove again. Okay. So via live streams, podcasts, social media, audio rooms, they build trust and connection. Listen, I'm putting this out here so that we have options to live, to win, to thrive, to survive. Okay. Because we have been looking at speaking in this narrow sense of you're either a keynote or a guest speaker, and there are so many other ways that you can leverage your gift of speaking to communicate, give information, motivate people, entertain, or persuade. It's they are all speaking. So these are some of them, right? And this is in the thing that I put. I'm putting it here again. If you're just coming here, here it is. Go fill this out, you guys, and find out what kind of speaker you are. Find out if you will have a speaking career in your future. But what happens is we don't have a bona fide method for getting there. That's the problem. And that's where I come in. I want to tell you about Find Your Fire and about my secret group that I put together in January and what has happened with them. So I took a group of speakers who I knew I was connected to in some way. Some had come through Speak with Confidence. A lot of them had not, because I realized Speak with Confidence is for people who do bona fide, whatever the word is, they want to get better and more confident as speakers, increase authenticity. Usually, these people have no interest in building a speaking career. It's for work, it's to climb corporate, it's to attain credibility, get a bigger job, get the promotion, all of the things that go into building a career in somebody else's business. But I got some others. They came in to Speak with Confidence, I guess, for the same reasons. But you can see that the words just came out of them. They were speakers already. They were speakers already. These are the ones who come one and done. They don't stay around. They do the program and then they leave. They don't stay for like the speaking school, which is the virtual arm. We meet once a week. Once you graduate from Speak with Confidence, I don't leave you just to be by yourself. I'm so vested and so in love with speaking, I guess, that I put together this speaking school. So once you graduate from Speak with Confidence, you just continue into the speaking school. We meet once a week, we train, and then somebody gets the exposure of presenting as well. Because something happens when you are more confident, you no longer want to stay, look, be the same. And we cater for that. But those are the people. They came in, they could already speak. But the thing is that it's either of two things. They never took themselves seriously, or they have not really figured out what do you want to say to the world. And in the Find Your Fire program, if you are interested, if you're hearing this and you are interested, get in touch with me because we're starting soon. And it is for to develop all of these kinds of speakers that I noted here today in your lane, saying your thing. Because whether you are in corporate or not, whether you are the entrepreneur or not, whether you are in the government job and just wanting a career that, I used to come out of my office job, and the times I loved most was when I was speaking. I felt more validated. I felt more in my element, more like myself. If that is you and speaking is something that you just do, let me help you find what you need to say and how you should say it. Most people start from how to speak with confidence, how to do this. But the find your fire person, that is a person with the visceral message. When they say it, it resonates. Okay? They feel it, they live it, and it might be something that you already do. I wrote a post on LinkedIn a couple days ago that meant a lot to me because it was a eureka moment, and I'm going to end here, okay, y'all? It was a eureka moment because, like, if you double down in one area, you gain traction, you gain rare insight, you gain wisdom, and you begin to know that area way better than other people. That is when you are able, it's called the niche. And if you do it well enough, which is what Terry Carell has done, she has niched into being the host, the MC, the host. That is what she does. She's living it and breathing it and all of the things. For me, in terms of what I teach, it is speaking. To know the things about it, to know what is style. Style. There's some people who you come across as one way as opposed to the other. So I'm doubling down in that area so I gain more traction there. And I teach that to the speakers. What is your thing? Where are you energized? Where are you spending the most time? What do you lean into again and again? I was talking about Murdoch Mysteries. It's a Canadian series set in the, I think, 1800s, was it? And I like mystery stuff, right? But this one I just love. It's just nice. I just love the characters. I love the storylines. Oh geez. And so I am the person who's very boring. I watch it over and over and over and over and over again. I know the lines, okay? And this is not me sitting down to watch. This is me while I'm doing my work. It's playing in the background. So it's more like I am listening more than I'm watching. So when I come to watch, it's like the first time I see it. But because I've spent so much time with the program, I'm in a couple of Facebook groups of Murdoch Mysteries Facebook groups. When I answer a question or make a comment, I'm coming from far and deep. Know what I mean? There are a couple speakers, when I think about it, there are a couple speakers in Speak with Confidence who are like that. Even some of the people I coach privately, they are absolute beasts in their field because they have spent so much time there. That if you are that person here today, you are that person who will be great in Find Your Fire. Because people don't just like to hear speakers who speak well. They also like to hear wisdom, uncommon wisdom in an age of AI where you can tell when it's Teflon. What? I better stop. No, you can tell. I use AI. And sometimes I'm like, this is too perfect. Where is me in this? People are looking for the humanity. Deep calls to deep. Deep does not call to superficial. It doesn't. And so if you can double down, and that's what we teach you in the first part of the program, which is called Find Your Fire, right? We help you to find that fire. What's that thing that you should be speaking about? It is based on conversations, on what comes easy to you, what pains you in the world, what do you have a pet peeve for, listening to how you speak. Even this week, only this week in Speak with Confidence, week 5, I was coaching one of the students, and she has been progressively growing. But we alighted on her thing. It's how she said it, the visceral nature with which it came out. We was like, oh my gosh. Well, I said it privately, right? You don't want to startle the client or whatever. But I marked it. I highlighted it in my head because she alighted on her thing. And after she did that, when she opened that door within her, my gosh, We knew there was something there. And so we go through that process of helping you to find your fire. Then you have to build your fire. That goes with all of the things around your speaking life. You need to have the press kit, you need to have the reels, you need to get proof of concept. And that is where we really push. That is where students really have to turn out of themselves and step out. You want to be a speaker? Speakers speak. Go and speak. That's how we do it. Anyway, you guys, I'm tired and excited. But this is the program. But you start by taking the test. Take that test and see, how much of a speaker you might be, where you find yourself. It's a simple test and it will lead you to different downloads. So do that. I'm going to make a post about it as well. So you don't have to watch the entire live for you to know how to go about doing it, right? But we're going to be doing this, the first cohort. We're going to be starting very soon. We have a date to start of June the 2nd. June the 2nd, I think that is the Monday, that first Monday in June. And, this first group is going to be very special because I know where I want to take the program. And this first group is going to be not the test group because I've already tested, but they're going to be pretty special because every other program that I iterate out of this one, they are still going to be part of it. So it's a lovely time to get in to find your fire, because you should be speaking, because you have the talent and you have something to share with the world. And people with less stuff in their head and more confidence and more bravado are out there killing it. And we are trying to play small. Let's stop playing small, you guys. Okay, I'm off to take a walk. Thank you for listening, everybody. I shall be on, maybe not tomorrow. I have a speaking engagement tomorrow. So, but maybe on the weekend. Follow me on Instagram. I'm way more fun over there. At Lisa M. Dublin on Instagram. Okay, I usually go there on a weekend. I speak there, go live there on a weekend. So follow me on Instagram. Lots of photos and stuff to empower you and all of that. Okay, so follow me on Instagram at Lisa M. Dublin. Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, yes, you do have the gift and you should use it because that's what you were meant to do.